Are you tired of feeling like your life is a constant battle against forces you can't control? What if you could unlock a profound sense of inner power by simply shifting your focus from the chaotic world around you to the thoughts and actions within your own grasp? Imagine a life where external pressures, failures, and criticisms lose their power to shake your resolve, becoming nothing more than opportunities for growth and self-mastery. This isn't a pipe dream for the select few. It is the promise of Stoicism, a timeless philosophy that offers a profound blueprint for doing your absolute best in every aspect of life. This article will show you how to cultivate an unshakable mindset that allows you to thrive amidst uncertainty. Transform every setback into a stepping stone and find a deep sense of purpose and calm in a world obsessed with speed and external validation. One of the most foundational and empowering lessons from Stoicism is to direct your energy solely toward what is within your control. This may sound like a simple concept, but once you truly internalize it, it becomes a monumental force for peace and productivity. Consider for a moment the vast amount of time and mental energy we squander each day on things completely beyond our influence, the opinions of others, unexpected events like traffic jams or the weather, or even the decisions of our colleagues and bosses. We often find ourselves entangled in a web of worry and frustration over these external factors, a struggle that serves only to deplete our mental reserves and leave us feeling powerless. The Stoics, in their practical wisdom, defined 3 clear areas of life that are genuinely within your command: your thoughts, your actions, and your attitude. Everything else, whether you get that promotion you worked so hard for, if a client is pleased with your work, or if a plan unfolds exactly as you envision, is by its very nature an external factor that is ultimately out of your hands. For example, when you embark on a significant work project, you have complete authority over how much effort you invest, the level of preparation you undertake, and the positive attitude you bring to the task. However, the project's ultimate outcome, the reception from your boss, or any unforeseen external events that may impact its success, are all beyond your direct control. A Stoic would simply say, "You did your part, the rest was not up to you." When you anchor your focus to what you can control, you liberate yourself from the crushing weight of worrying about outcomes, a burden that is not yours to bear. This core principle is brilliantly encapsulated by Epictetus, a prominent Stoic philosopher who famously stated, "Some things are in our control and others are not." Once you truly grasp this binary distinction, your perspective on challenges fundamentally shifts. The more time and emotional energy you pour into trying to manipulate uncontrollable variables, the more stressed and frustrated you will become. Conversely, by channeling your efforts into what is truly within your power, your thoughts, your actions, and your chosen responses, you gain a sense of profound control and feel less overwhelmed by forces you cannot fix. Stoicism categorizes life into these 2 domains: internals, which are within your influence, and externals, which are not. The secret to a more peaceful and effective life lies in consistently investing your energy into the internal and learning to let go of the external. Consider a real-life scenario such as receiving harsh criticism from a manager or colleague. Your initial knee-jerk reaction might be to feel defensive, hurt, or embarrassed. But from a Stoic perspective, you cannot control their opinion or the manner in which they deliver it. What you can control is your response. You can choose to either let the feedback ruin your day, or you can take a moment to step back, evaluate the information dispassionately, and decide whether it holds any useful value for your growth. By choosing to focus on your reaction, you maintain a state of calm and clear-headedness, regardless of the criticism's severity. To begin implementing this shift in your daily life, you can start by making a simple control list. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, jotting down what is and isn't in your power to help you allocate your energy wisely. When faced with uncontrollable events like a traffic jam or a sudden change of plans, practice acceptance rather than resistance, as fighting reality only compounds your frustration. Lastly, learn to reframe challenges. Instead of seeing a problem as a catastrophe, ask yourself, what can I do about this right now? A small question that can make you feel instantly more empowered. This mindset is particularly vital during times of significant uncertainty, a reality we all face from time to time. Whether it is a downturn in the job market, a global pandemic, or personal hardships, life has a way of throwing major curveballs our way. You cannot control these large-scale events, but you can always control your reaction to them. During the pandemic, for example, many things were out of our hands, from lockdowns and job security to health concerns. Yet those who focused on what they could control, like nurturing their mental health, developing new skills, or finding innovative ways to connect with loved ones, were the ones who felt more grounded and less overwhelmed. A related trap to avoid is perfectionism, which is often an exhausting attempt to control every tiny detail of an outcome, including how others will perceive your work. The Stoics would advise you to strive for progress, not perfection, and to find peace in knowing that you did your best, even if the final result is not flawless. This liberation from the need for perfection is truly freeing. When you consistently practice focusing on what is within your control, a cascade of positive changes unfolds in your life. First, you experience significantly less stress because you are no longer wasting energy on things that cannot be changed, leading to a calmer and more focused mindset. Second, your productivity soars as your energy is now channeled into actions you can actually influence, leading to a greater sense of accomplishment. Third, your resilience is greatly enhanced as focusing on your response rather than the problem itself makes you stronger and better equipped to handle setbacks. And finally, you experience a profound sense of inner peace, as letting go of the uncontrollable frees you from a heavy emotional burden. At the end of the day, the Stoics provide a timeless reminder that your true power lies in mastering yourself, your thoughts, your actions, and your attitudes. Everything else belongs to the universe, and worrying about it will change nothing. So the next time you feel stressed, take a moment to ask yourself, is this something I can control? If the answer is no, simply let it go and shift your attention to the actions you can take right now to move forward. This shift in mindset will not only help you feel more in control of your life, but also more at peace with whatever may come your way. This is one of the most challenging yet liberating secrets of Stoicism, to give your absolute best effort in everything you do while completely detaching your sense of self-worth from the final outcome. It's a difficult concept to grasp because our modern world conditions us to believe that our value is tied to our achievements and results. We are taught to be obsessed with the end goal, whether it is a promotion, a successful business launch, or a perfect exam score. But this obsession is the very source of immense stress and anxiety, as it places our happiness at the mercy of countless external factors beyond our control. The Stoics urged us to shift our focus from the result, which is influenced by a multitude of variables such as other people, timing, and luck, to the process which is entirely within our domain. Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius both emphasize this distinction, with Aurelius famously writing, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The core Stoic principle here is simple. You must give 100% to whatever you're doing, but your peace of mind should never depend on whether you win or lose. Your part is the effort, the preparation, and the intention. The outcome belongs to the world. Imagine a student who dedicates countless hours to studying for a major exam, preparing meticulously, and feeling completely ready. On the day of the test, they are thrown off by an unforeseen event, like a lack of sleep or a series of unexpectedly difficult questions. As a result, their grade is not what they had hoped for. A Stoic would advise them to accept that they did everything within their control to prepare, and that the grade itself is now out of their hands. The effort is what matters, and stressing over a result that cannot be changed is simply unproductive. Letting go of the outcome is not about becoming indifferent or lazy. It is about focusing your energy on the part of the equation you can influence. A powerful way to start practicing this is by setting process-based goals instead of outcome-based ones. For instance, rather than setting the goal, "I will get a promotion this year," you could set a goal like, "I will improve my skills in X area by 20% and take on a new leadership role in a project." This way, your success is measured by your effort and growth, not by an external decision. You must also learn to celebrate your effort, not just the result. Acknowledge the hard work and dedication you poured into a project regardless of how it turned out. And finally, remember not to take setbacks personally. When you do everything right and things still don't work out, it is often due to factors beyond your control, and it should not discourage you from giving your best effort in the future. Consider the emotional roller coaster of a job interview for your dream position. You invest time in crafting a perfect resume, you practice your answers, and you give a flawless interview. But then you get the rejection email. It is easy to feel disappointed, to question your worth, or to let self-doubt creep in. However, from a Stoic perspective, you cannot control the hiring decision. You can only control your effort and your preparation. By focusing on that, you can walk away from the experience with confidence, knowing you did your best. You don't know the full story. Perhaps they had an internal candidate, or maybe the other person was just a better fit for their specific needs. By letting go of the outcome, you avoid feeling defeated by a rejection that was never in your control, and you are left with more confidence for the next opportunity. When you master the art of detaching from outcomes, a number of profound benefits emerge in your life. You experience less stress and anxiety because you are no longer consumed by external worries. Your confidence soars as it is no longer dependent on winning or losing, but on the integrity of your effort. Your resilience is amplified, allowing you to bounce back from setbacks, knowing they are not a reflection of your worth. And most importantly, you will find more enjoyment in the process itself. The fear of failure, which often paralyzes us, stems directly from our attachment to outcomes. The Stoic view is that failure is not the opposite of success, it is simply valuable feedback. It tells you what didn't work, but it never defines your worth. By shifting your focus from the final result to the lessons you learn along the way, failure becomes a powerful stepping stone rather than a dreaded dead end. In the end, success from a Stoic viewpoint is not about hitting a milestone, but about the quality of your effort, your character, and the lessons you learn along the journey. Self-discipline is the unseen superpower that makes all other forms of achievement possible. It is the indispensable backbone of a meaningful and productive life, and it is a core tenet of Stoic philosophy. While motivation is a wonderful spark, it is also fleeting and unreliable. You may wake up one day filled with energy and inspiration, ready to conquer the world, only to feel a complete lack of motivation the next. Self-discipline is what steps in when motivation has taken the day off. It is the quiet, unwavering commitment to do what needs to be done regardless of how you feel. Think of it in the context of fitness. When you first start a new workout plan, the initial excitement is often enough to get you to the gym. But after a few weeks, when the novelty wears off and it's just you, a dark morning, and a daunting treadmill, what keeps you going? That's self-discipline. It is the inner voice that says, "I made a commitment to myself and I will see it through." This is where real lasting change happens. The Stoics were staunch advocates for self-mastery, believing that controlling your own actions, thoughts, and impulses was the ultimate form of freedom. As Epictetus taught, no man is free who is not master of himself. True freedom in this sense is not about having unlimited choices, but about having the inner strength to choose your own path and not be dictated by your desires or moods. Building self-discipline is not an overnight transformation. It is a skill that must be trained consistently, like a muscle. To start, avoid overwhelming yourself by trying to change everything at once. Instead, pick one small, manageable habit to focus on, and once you have mastered that, you can gradually build from there. Routines are your greatest ally in this endeavor, as they remove the need for motivation by creating a predictable structure that keeps you on track. To make it easier on yourself, proactively remove temptations from your environment. If you want to eat healthier, don't keep junk food in the house. By setting yourself up for success, you make the disciplined choice the path of least resistance. Consider the familiar struggle of sticking to a workout plan. You start with enthusiasm, but eventually life intervenes and the couch seems far more appealing than a gym session. This is the precise moment when self-discipline comes into play. It is the force that makes you show up even when you would rather not, reminding you of the greater purpose behind your actions. Over time, these small, consistent acts of discipline lead to transformative results because consistency, not perfection, is what truly makes the difference. The benefits of cultivating self-discipline are profound and far-reaching. You will become more productive because you are no longer waiting for the perfect mood or conditions to start a task. You will develop greater self-control, becoming more adept at resisting distractions and temptations. Your confidence will increase with every commitment you keep to yourself, building a deep sense of trust in your own willpower. And most importantly, self-discipline is the foundation of all long-term success, whether in your career, your fitness, or your personal growth. Of course, there will be setbacks, days where you miss a workout or fall back into an old habit. The key is to avoid self-criticism and instead simply learn from the slip-up and get back on track. Think of it like a journey. If you hit a bump in the road, you don't abandon the trip. You simply adjust and keep going. Procrastination, the archenemy of discipline, is often just your brain's attempt to avoid discomfort. A simple trick to beat it is the 5-minute rule. Tell yourself you only need to work on a task for 5 minutes. Most of the time, the hardest part is just getting started. And once you do, you'll find it much easier to continue. Ultimately, self-discipline is the superpower that distinguishes successful people from those who only dream of success. It is not about how you feel in the moment, but about what you want in the long run. By consistently practicing self-discipline, you are building the unwavering foundation for lasting success and true personal freedom. The concept of failure is often viewed as the antithesis of success, a sign of weakness or inadequacy. However, for the Stoics, failure was a vital and necessary part of the journey toward excellence. They believed that if you are truly striving to do your best, you must embrace failure not as a defeat to be avoided, but as one of life's most invaluable teachers. A Stoic doesn't fear failure because they understand that it is feedback and opportunity for profound growth that success alone can never provide. Most of us have been conditioned to view failure as something to be ashamed of, a roadblock that signals our shortcomings. But what if we were to flip this perspective? What if failure were simply a crucial step on the path to getting better? The Stoics knew that failure is not a definitive judgment on your worth. It is simply life providing you with feedback, saying, here is a place where you can learn and adjust. They did not fear failure because they knew it was an unavoidable and natural part of life. Marcus Aurelius, a master of this mindset, wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This powerful sentiment means that the very obstacle blocking your path failure can be transformed into the path itself, a tool for moving forward. It is a lesson in perspective. The Stoics taught that you have no control over whether you will fail, as outcomes are often influenced by forces beyond your reach. What you can control is your reaction to that failure. Epictetus reminds us that it is not events that disturb us, but our reactions to them. So instead of getting bogged down in self-pity or frustration when things go wrong, a Stoic uses failure as a learning tool. For instance, if you worked tirelessly for a promotion but were passed over, a common reaction would be disappointment and even embarrassment. But a Stoic would ask, what can I learn from this? Perhaps it is an opportunity to improve a specific skill, or maybe this failure will open a new, more fulfilling path you hadn't even considered. The key is to view failure as a stepping stone, not a dead end. To truly learn from failure, you must practice reframing it as feedback. When a plan goes awry, ask yourself, what is this teaching me? By viewing failure as a source of valuable information, you empower yourself to improve. You must also take responsibility for what went wrong without turning it into a personal attack on your character. Failure is an event, not a definition of who you are. And remember that the Stoics believed in adaptation, not just persistence. If something doesn't work, don't just repeat the same actions. Adjust your approach and try something new. Consider an entrepreneur who starts a business with a great idea, but the market doesn't respond as they'd hoped. Instead of seeing the business as a total failure, the Stoic perspective would be to ask, what can I learn from this experience? Perhaps the marketing needs a tweak, or a different audience needs to be targeted. The failure is simply a part of the journey to finding what works. When you shed the fear of failure, several powerful transformations occur. Your resilience skyrockets. As each time you fail and get back up, you build mental toughness and learn that you are capable of handling setbacks. You become more willing to take risks because you are no longer paralyzed by the fear of messing up. You become better at what you do as failure provides you with essential feedback that helps you refine your skills, and you detach from perfectionism, focusing instead on the continuous progress that truly matters. One of the biggest reasons we fear failure is the fear of judgment from others. But Marcus Aurelius reminds us of a fundamental truth: we care more about other people's opinions than our own, a paradox that is truly amazing to him. The reality is, you cannot control what others think, and their opinions have no bearing on your character or the value of your effort. The sooner you let go of that worry, the more you can focus on learning and improving. Perfectionism is a major barrier to this process, but the Stoics knew that progress, not perfection, is the goal. When learning a new skill, like playing the guitar, you will make countless mistakes, but each wrong note is a lesson that brings you closer to mastery. In the end, failure is not the opposite of success. It is a vital part of the path to it. In a world filled with endless distractions and constant noise, our minds are often pulled between regrets of the past and anxieties about the future. We spend so much of our time in our heads dwelling on things we cannot change, or worrying about things that have not yet happened, that we forget the only moment we truly have is right now. The Stoics believed that the key to a peaceful and effective life lies in anchoring yourself firmly in the present, a practice they cultivated long before the modern concept of mindfulness existed. You cannot change the past, and you cannot predict the future, so why expend valuable energy on either? Marcus Aurelius, in his personal journal, issued a simple but profound command to himself: confine yourself to the present. The past is a memory, and the future is an uncertain possibility. All we have is the present moment, a fleeting but infinitely powerful canvas on which we can act. When you bring your full attention back to the here and now, you free yourself from the draining cycle of worry and regret, realizing that this very moment is the only one in which you can ever truly influence your life. Epictetus famously taught that our suffering is not caused by events themselves, but by our judgments about them. This means that much of our stress is a product of our thoughts, not the actual reality unfolding around us. For example, if you are stressed about a big meeting tomorrow, the anxiety is not coming from the meeting itself, but from your mind's frantic thoughts about potential outcomes that do not yet exist. In the present moment, the meeting is just an idea. You are simply sitting here, breathing, existing. Why let your mind take you out of the present and into an imagined, anxiety-ridden future? Cultivating a mindful presence is a skill that takes practice. One of the simplest ways to ground yourself in the now is by engaging your senses, noticing what you can see, hear, and feel in your immediate environment. This practice pulls you out of your head and into the physical world. In moments of overwhelming stress, taking a few slow, deep breaths can calm your mind and bring your attention back to the rhythm of your body. In a world that glorifies multitasking, practicing single-tasking, giving your full and undivided attention to one activity at a time can help you feel more engaged and less scattered. When you are at work and your mind is racing with a million deadlines and emails, the Stoic approach is to focus only on the one task in front of you, taking it one step at a time. You can't tackle everything at once, but you can always handle the present moment. When you start living in the present, your life becomes simpler and more manageable. You experience less stress and anxiety, as most of our worries come from a future we cannot control or a past we cannot change. Your focus and productivity will soar as you are not distracted by what might happen later, but are fully engaged in the task at hand. You will find more enjoyment in life appreciating the small, simple moments that make up the day. And your relationships will improve as being truly present with others allows you to listen and engage more authentically. While letting go of the past and future is difficult, the Stoics remind us that clinging to a past that is over only creates suffering. If you made a mistake last week, you cannot change it. You can only choose what to do with your energy in the present moment, whether to dwell on it or to move on. In the end, the present is all we truly have, and it is where our power resides. By focusing on the now, you can live with greater intention, clarity, and peace. In our social media-driven world, we are constantly bombarded with a need for external approval and validation. Most of us spend an unhealthy amount of time worrying about what others think of us, whether it is our appearance, our career choices, or our personal beliefs. But the Stoics believe that seeking external approval is a futile waste of energy, as other people's opinions are entirely outside of our control. The only thing that truly matters is living in alignment with our own values and principles. Marcus Aurelius. A man who faced public scrutiny every day as emperor expressed his amazement at our human tendency to love ourselves more than others, yet care more about their opinion than our own. When you allow others' opinions to dictate your actions, you give away your power and compromise your integrity. Epictetus taught that if you want to improve, you must be content with being misunderstood or thought foolish by others. Your worth is not determined by what others think. It is determined by your actions and your character. If you are working to improve your fitness and a friend teases you for it, a Stoic would advise you to ignore their judgment and stick to your goals, because your progress is what matters, not their opinion. To practice this, remind yourself daily that other people's perceptions are outside of your control, and then shift your focus to what is in your control, your own actions. When you are clear on your own values, it becomes much easier to tune out the noise and make decisions based on what feels right to you. You must also accept that you can't please everyone, and trying to is a recipe for endless frustration. Consider a career change from a stable job to a passion project. Your friends and family might express doubt, but the Stoic mindset empowers you to ignore their opinions and focus on your own dedication and effort. Their lack of support doesn't change the fact that you are following your own path and living authentically. When you stop seeking external approval, you gain more confidence, freedom, and a profound sense of inner peace. You also build more authentic relationships as you connect with people who appreciate you for who you are, not for a version of yourself trying to please everyone. When criticism inevitably comes your way, a Stoic would advise you to separate the feedback from your ego. If it is valid, use it to learn and grow. If it is not, simply let it go. The need for validation is an ego trap that hands over control of your happiness to others. The Stoics taught that true self-worth comes from within, based on your actions and values. By focusing on your own growth and journey, you free yourself from the roller coaster of external approval and become a more self-reliant and secure person. One of the most challenging but liberating Stoic lessons is to embrace change as the only constant in life. From personal relationships to career paths, and even our own bodies, everything is in a constant state of flux. The Stoics understood that resisting change creates unnecessary suffering because you are fighting against reality itself. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." This means that while change is inevitable, our response to it shapes our entire experience. The Stoics believed that everything is temporary and that our stress comes from our judgment of change, not from the change itself. If you view change as something to be feared, you will feel anxious and resist it. If you see it as a natural part of life, you can handle it with more grace. If you lose a job, a Stoic would encourage you to accept the change and focus on what you can control, seeing it as an opportunity for something new to come into your life. To practice this, remind yourself that change is natural. Focus on what you can control and try to reframe change as an opportunity for growth. For example, if you move to a new city, instead of clinging to the past, embrace the new opportunities, friends, and experiences that await you. Embracing change reduces stress, increases your adaptability, and builds resilience. It also helps you overcome the fear of uncertainty, which is an illusion, as life is always unpredictable. As Epictetus said, "Difficulties are things that show a person what they are." By facing uncertainty with a calm, prepared mindset, you prove your strength to yourself. Letting go of the past is also crucial, as clinging to it only causes suffering. Appreciate the past for what it was, but do not let it stop you from moving forward. In the end, change is life's constant, and by embracing it, you free yourself from resistance and open yourself to a fuller, more meaningful life. Adversity is not a curse to be avoided. It is your greatest teacher and a forge for inner strength. The Stoics knew that a life without challenges would be a life without growth. Every setback you face is a chance to build resilience, character, and wisdom. Marcus Aurelius famously said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that the very obstacle you are trying to overcome is the path to your growth. It is easy to remain calm when things are going well, but your true strength is revealed when life throws you a curveball. Epictetus reminds us that difficulties are things that show a person what they are. They show you your character and your ability to rise above. When faced with a setback, such as a project falling apart at work, a Stoic would not run from it. Instead, they would embrace it as a chance to learn and improve, asking, "What went wrong? How can I use this setback to make me stronger?" To build inner strength, you must first acknowledge the challenge head-on, without avoidance. Then focus solely on your response, because while you can't control what happens, you can always control your actions and attitude. In every tough situation, there is a lesson to be learned, and your job is to find it. Facing a tough financial period, for example, can be overwhelming, but it is also an opportunity to build strength by focusing on what you can control: your expenses, your effort, and your mindset. By facing adversity with the right mindset, you will become more resilient, self-confident, and wise. It is natural to feel emotional during tough times, but the Stoics taught that you should not let your emotions control your actions. You have power over your mind, not outside events, and this is where your strength lies. Acknowledging feelings like anger or frustration is fine, but you must choose a productive response rather than reacting impulsively. Every setback, from a breakup to a professional failure, is a chance to learn more about yourself and become stronger. By embracing adversity, you will build the inner resilience needed to handle whatever life throws your way. Gratitude is not just for good times. The Stoics believed it is a powerful practice that can transform your mindset even in the midst of adversity. When life is difficult, it is easy to fall into a negative spiral, but gratitude helps you shift your focus from what is wrong to what is still right in your life. Epictetus wisely said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has." This practice helps you see that even in the worst of times, life is still full of good things, whether it is your health, a supportive friend, or simply the ability to learn from a challenge. Marcus Aurelius himself began each day by listing what he was thankful for, a practice that kept him grounded even as a Roman emperor facing immense pressure. If you are stuck in a career you do not love, it is easy to feel frustrated. But a Stoic would encourage you to practice gratitude for the job you have, the skills you are learning, and the stability it provides. To cultivate gratitude, start with the basics, like having food to eat and a roof over your head. Make it a daily habit to write down 3 things you are grateful for, no matter how small, as this can rewire your brain to focus on the positive. Even in loss, you can find gratitude by remembering the good memories and the impact that person had on your life, which helps you find a sense of peace amidst the pain. Practicing gratitude improves your mental health, boosts resilience, strengthens your relationships, and helps you maintain a positive outlook. It helps you let go of negativity and create space for hope and possibility. By incorporating gratitude into your daily life, you train your mind to see the good, building a mindset that is both positive and resilient. While you cannot control the events that happen to you, you can always control your reaction to them. This is one of the most empowering Stoic teachings. 2 people can experience the exact same setback, but one can feel defeated, while the other feels empowered, and the only difference is their reaction. Your reaction is where your true power lies. Epictetus reminds us that we can never choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond. This puts the power of your happiness and well-being back in your hands, where it belongs. If you are stuck in traffic, for example, you cannot control the cars, but you can control whether you get angry or take a deep breath and accept the situation. To practice this skill, pause before you react to a triggering event, giving yourself a moment to think before you act. Ask yourself, is this in my control? If the answer is no, reframe the situation and focus on what you can do. If you receive harsh criticism at work, you cannot control the feedback, but you can control your response, choosing to calmly evaluate it instead of reacting defensively. This practice leads to less stress, healthier relationships, and greater resilience. It also helps you let go of the exhausting need to control everything around you, a habit that only leads to frustration and disappointment. The key is to learn to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively, a skill that empowers you to navigate life's challenges with composure and calm. In a world that celebrates ego and self-promotion, the Stoics taught that humility is one of the most crucial virtues for success. Ego is a dangerous trap, a voice that tells you that you know everything and are better than others, leading to arrogance and ultimately failure. Epictetus warned that it is impossible to learn what you think you already know, highlighting how ego closes the door to growth and improvement. Humility, on the other hand, keeps you grounded and open to feedback, ensuring you are always learning. Marcus Aurelius, the Emperor of Rome, constantly reminded himself to stay humble, recognizing the fleeting nature of fame and power. To stay humble, keep learning and recognize that you do not know everything. Practice listening more than you talk, as listening shows respect and allows you to learn from others. When you receive feedback, accept it as an opportunity to improve rather than getting defensive. For example, a humble leader in the workplace listens to their team's ideas and recognizes their own limitations, which earns respect and fosters a positive environment. Humility leads to greater personal growth, stronger relationships, better decision-making, and increased resilience. When you experience success, it is easy for your ego to swell. But a Stoic would remind you to stay focused on your values and actions, not the external praise. The need for validation from others is another ego trap that hands over control of your self-worth. The Stoics taught that true worth comes from within, from your own values and actions. By letting go of ego and embracing humility, you open yourself up to a life of continuous growth and deeper meaning. In our fast-paced world of instant gratification, patience can feel like a forgotten virtue. But the Stoics knew that true lasting success is the result of consistent patient effort over time. Marcus Aurelius compared life to wrestling, not dancing, reminding us that we must be firm and ready for the long haul. Patience allows you to endure hardships and continue moving forward even when progress feels slow. Epictetus used the analogy of a fig which needs time to blossom and ripen, to illustrate that all great things take time to develop. To cultivate patience, embrace the process, not just the outcome. Set long-term goals that align with your values and remind yourself that progress is a marathon, not a sprint. Manage your expectations, as unrealistic expectations are the root of impatience and frustration. For example, building a career takes time and perseverance, and a Stoic would focus on their work ethic and skills, trusting that the results will come in time. Practicing patience leads to less stress, more resilience, better decision-making, and a deeper appreciation for the journey. It helps you overcome the urge for instant results and find joy in the slow, consistent progress that truly leads to mastery. The Stoics knew that there are no shortcuts to wisdom or success. By embracing patience, you set yourself up for long-term growth and fulfillment, enjoying the journey as much as the destination. As we have seen, Stoicism is not an outdated philosophy, but a practical, timeless guide for living a more effective and meaningful life. It provides a roadmap for doing your best by teaching you to focus your energy on what you can control. Embrace adversity as a teacher and cultivate a mindset of unwavering self-discipline. By applying these lessons, you learn to master your reactions, let go of external validation, and find a profound sense of inner peace that is unshakable. Remember, this is not about perfection. It is about progress. Every small effort to live by these principles brings you closer to your true potential, helping you navigate life's inevitable challenges with courage, calm, and a quiet, profound confidence.